So this talk is Beyond the Bill, the 3 framework for scalable WordPress. As she introduced me, I'm Meeky Hwang, and a CEO and co-founder of Ndevr. If you guys want to learn more about Ndevr, I have a slide at the end to a QR code that you can scan or come find me roaming around here, ask about it. So let's jump right in. Your platform, your publishing platform is always moments away from catastrophe. The relentless content cycle leaves little time to maintain a stable, scalable, and secure digital foundation until something breaks and nothing else matters. If you have an e-commerce store and you're preparing for a holiday sales and you're promoting a lot, and then the day of the sales, you're getting a lot of traffic, way more than you expected, so your site can handle the traffic, so your site goes frozen into crashing. Catastrophe. You're a marketing manager and you are preparing for this time-sensitive campaign that you have a perfect content for it, but you have to rely on a feature development for this campaign for your developers, and it got delayed, but you still have time to push the campaign out. But when the developers finally pushed out the content, site crashed. Another catastrophe. Your developer wanted to let the business folks know that you have to push out the security release. But because you got pulled into the site crashes, you have to fix it, that you couldn't have time to push out the security release. So you finally fixed the site crash, but right after the site crash happened, you were able to manage to put the site back up, and right after you got that back on, the bot attack happened because you couldn't push out your security updates. Site crashed again, another catastrophe. So all these emergencies, signs, system going down, errors, white screen of death, is sign of platform fragility. So when this happens, you're constantly in firefighting mode. It makes your platform feels it's always playing catching up, so you're always in reactive mode, not giving time for you to be proactive about preventing the potential issues that can happen. So the real cost of platform fragility is one of the biggest one, and affects a lot of people, is business lost revenue. So your site can't handle the traffic spikes. That means that you're losing on your customers, readers, or subscribers that should go to your site to consume the content or buy some products that you want to sell. You want to sell and then increase your revenue, but you can't do that, and they're just going to go to your competitor's site because they can't. Your site's not functioning, or site's frozen, or it's not functioning because of the traffic spike. Emergency fixes pulling teams away from strategy. Usually when the emergency happens, it's all hands on deck to make sure that your site's back up. In those cases, everyone's just working on site fixes, on emergencies. That means that your day-to-day work, or even a strategic work to make your site competitive and innovative, that doesn't happen. It just gets less priority. Editorial bottlenecks slowing down campaigns. Your editorial process is so convoluted and so complex that it takes forever to push out a simple content, or even any time-sensitive campaigns that you want to push out. Even if you have amazing content that can be so great and it's going to just bring your revenue up, it can't happen if you can't publish the content. And security vulnerabilities threatening reputation. If your site is known to be not secure, the customer is just not going to go there. Users just not going to go there. And even before that, Google will not send the traffic to your site. Google believes that any links they provide is somewhat of extension of their reputation. So they're not even going to send any traffic to your site if your site is known to be insecure. So how do we prevent platform fragility and build truly stable, secure, and scalable digital platform? It's kind of a mouthful to do all these words. Through a 3E framework. What is 3E framework, you might ask? Well, I tell you. It's 3 critical experiences that will make your platform resilient. So it's audience experience, creator experience, and developer experience. We want to ensure that all 3 experiences, pillars, are strong and aligned to make sure that your platform is resilient. I'll get into each experiences in a little bit, but before we get to that, Why is it important? Your platform is like three-legged stool. So audience experience, creator experience, developer experience is like each leg that's supporting your stool. So they each have to be very strong, but at the same time have to balance together to make sure that it's working cohesively. So if there's any weak legs, then your stool is going to wobble and tip over. So when one leg halters, the stool tilts, and risk creeps in, too much imbalance, and your strategy topples. So let's get into audience experience, the first leg, the first pillar. Audience experience is a customer-facing side of your platform. So subscribers, customers, users, or readers, anything that you see, feel, and interact is audience experience. So what are the common audience experience failure is slow loading sites during traffic spikes, or even any time that if it's slow loading, that you want to make sure that your site is well under 3 seconds to load it. Otherwise, you're going to lose your attraction to your user. There's a study that 1/10 of delay will cause 5 to 10% of bounce rates increase for the high traffic sites. So you want to make sure that you have your reader's attention, audience attention by providing the fast site. Ad placement affecting user experience. Have you ever experienced that you're reading an article and while you're reading it, some ads popped up on the top of your article? So leaderboard had popped in, so you pushed it down, so you lost where you were on the reading. And then so you're frustrated once, but you continue to read it because the content was good. And then the interstitial ad kicked in, so you push it down again. So you're frustrated again. But it's like, all right, I'll give you one more chance, and you just keep reading it. And then the video interstitials kicked in and just took over the entire space. That's an experience. That's a bad user experience caused by the ad placement not implemented correctly. So yeah, that's a bad experience causing it. And if you keep getting those kind of experiences, you're going to lose your audience or readers or even the users engaged to your site, or they're just going to get frustrated and go to your competitor's site to consume the content. Poor mobile experience. It's inevitable that these days, people will look at your site on mobile devices. So you want to make sure that it actually displays correctly as you intended so that it doesn't disrupt the interaction for the users on the mobile. So you don't want to have some images getting chopped up or parts of the content on the edge doesn't show up on your mobile devices. Performance bottlenecks affecting user experience and business outcomes. If your site doesn't load some sections of it, sometimes you might get away because maybe you put a new widget or a new section, but it's not showing up. But it's supposed to be the really competitive content that you really wanted to promote, but people don't see it, they're not going to consume it. Or some pages, sometimes these days it's very obvious if something's broken. They're not stupid. Readers and customers, they know. So they're going to see it as oh, this site doesn't look right. So you're going to lose a lot of engagement or retentions from your audience, and they'll eventually come to business outcomes. So what's a good audience experience is fast loading sites. Obviously, you want to make sure that your site loads fast and it's performing well. Intuitive integration, intuitive navigation that just makes sense. You want to make sure that your user can find the information they came to your site for easily, but without having to contact your customer service, or just struggling through 5 layers of different places to find the information. So you don't want that. You want to make sure it's easy for them to stay. And mobile optimization, as I said, that you want to make sure that it performs well on your mobile devices. And if I want to add more, you want also the seamless integration with third parties, because these days you are putting content from third parties, like videos or other things. That has to be seamless. It shouldn't interrupt your audience experience. So how can you help to get there? You want to track basic performance measures, like how Google defines it, core web vitals, and monitor bounce rates by pages, but just bounce rate in general, but also by pages and by sections, by traffic sources, so you understand where the bounce rate is coming, the high bounce rate is coming from, to just truly understand your audience. Optimize email capture and strategic lead magnet to get more engagement with your users or audience. Implement mobile-first performance strategy. Emphasize that multiple times already so that you know why. And track conversion funnels and drop-off points to understand your audience better. Conduct regular performance reviews to make sure that your site is performing well. And invest audience research and data-driven decisions. You really want to understand your target audience to their demographics, their behaviors, their preferences to make sure that you're providing the contents that are relevant to them, that resonate with them to make sure that you have a better retention rates. So some of the metrics that can help you get there, so engagement metric, session duration, page per visit, bounce rates, engagement rates, retention metrics to make sure you're retaining your user, return versus new visitors, viewer retention, churn rate, conversion metrics, conversion rates, and if you have an e-commerce site, cart abandon, CTR, sentiment metrics, net promotion score, like how likely would the people recommend your brand or recommend your website, and customer satisfaction score, social shares, just to kind of see how relevant is that for the audience that they want to share your content. Performance metrics, the page speed, mobile response, resolution time, and business impact, you want to make sure how does this all affect your business. So Essence is one of our clients that we did a lot of different things, but among other things, I wanted to highlight the audience experience optimization we did with them. So they do have a lot of ads going on their site, and then one of the things they wanted to do was increase their ad revenue. So when we started working with them, their ad viewability was around low 60%-ish. So they wanted to improve that. So we started doing the audience research to understand their target audience, so how their behaviors are like, what their preferences like, and we start collecting data based on that, and we started putting different ad positions in different places by A/B testing to understand what performs better, and then we balance the ad density, so like kind of evening out some of the crowded ad places that is lower viewability to other places so we can actually even it out the density so that it's optimized. And we repeated through this iteration to make a progress. And we became, on average, over 90% ad viewability. So it was 50% viewability improvement and 30% more ad views per user. And we were able to enhance the user engagement without compromising the user experience. So let's move on to creator experience, also known as editor experience. It's your editorial team's workflow, anything from content creation to publishing. So some of the pain points, if you are an editor, you might experience some of that, hopefully not all of it. So manual process is slowing down your content team. So if there's so many manual steps to publish even a simple blog post, simple article, or simple page, that's a problem. It's a disruptive and frustrated workflow for the editorial team, especially if you have any time-sensitive content that has to go out, and that's really frustrating for the editorial team. Dependencies on developer for basic updates. WordPress is very good for very streamlined editorial workflow that you have out of the box. You have a lot of features that's already there, but depending on what kind of themes you have or what kind of plugins you have or what kind of customization you added on, it could actually disrupt that workflow. So like, for example, even a headless, you might not have a preview feature anymore because you kind of separate that out and not giving the preview functionality. So those kind of, those times that even if you have a simple little updates, you might not be able to see it until it's out in live site. And when you saw it, there might be a lot of other layers for you to fix it without getting the developers involved. So editors and marketing team need developers' involvement for every single change. Or if it's one of those sites that every little change has to go through developers, like even putting an image or even putting a little video or making the font size differently. If that has to go through the developers all the time, it's going to be very frustrating, and sometimes and another layer is a bottleneck you're introducing to. A complex workflow delaying time to market. If you have a crazy convoluted places you have to go to 10 different places to push out like a one page, that's just disruptive. It's not efficient at all. And then if you have any time-sensitive content you have to push out, you're going to lose on your timing. So what's a good creator experience look like? streamlined and simplified workflow. You want to make sure that your editorial workflow is simple and fast, and easy and fast. Well, fast turnaround time for content updates, and collaboration with developer for feature updates, promoting creative content. Not just with the developers, you'll be working with other teams like designers, and then you want to make sure that it's easy to collaborate with them. It shouldn't be a bottleneck for you to go over and over to make sure that you can push out the content. Some of the key metrics you can assess, well, I'll get into more metrics in a later slides. Turnaround time for content updates, content publishing velocity, creator satisfaction score. This is actually important because sometimes you don't really know what the real frustration or real bottleneck is until you assess the creator's satisfaction score. Because you might not know it's a bottleneck until they really complain and they realize that it's really something that really you need to change. And feature request resolution time to make sure that you collaborate with other teams better. So, how to get there? Track time to publish from idea to publication. So you want to make sure this is short, so it's easy and it's fast for them to push out content, especially when you have a time-sensitive content going on, or you're publishing multiple times a day, especially if you're at a big media company, that happens a lot. So you want to make sure that it's fast and easy for the creators. And monitor editing cycle time and approval stages. Some companies have various approval stages, and sometimes the actual tool might not be the bottleneck, but the approval process might be the bottleneck, because if it's stuck in one stage and then people don't know if it's their turn to approve it, that's also causing problems and delays. So you want to make sure those frictions are pretty much resolved. So at the end of the day, you really want to resolve the frictions so that it's easy for the creators to publish the content without having all these hurdles to go through. Document and map current workflow. This actually is a very good way to start identifying where the bottlenecks are, where the frustrations are, and where all the repetitive tasks are, or even where the bottlenecks are. So you want to start mapping out and document it just to see how your creator experience is right now, and define clear goals and roles and responsibilities for each stage so that you know who to go to when there seems to be a bottleneck that's causing by the approval process. And automate repetitive tasks and notification, like create templates if it's reused in multiple different times. So you want to make sure that all these tedious tasks can be automated so that you don't have to spend too much time on the same things over and over again. And you want to also automate the notification, especially for if you have multiple approval stages. You want to let the people know that it's your turn to approve. Establish content quality standards also expedites the approval process. Also, eventually helps the SEO because you're consistent with your content quality. Remove editorial bottlenecks and dependencies. I pretty much mentioned that on previous steps. So some of the metrics that you can reference is time-based metrics, time to publish, editor cycle time, workflow efficiency, revisions, task completion rate, creator satisfaction. This is creator satisfaction score, not customer satisfaction score, and tool usability, retention, platform performance, uptime, response time, error rates on your admin side, collaboration, cross-team efficiency, because you'll be working with multiple other teams, and also have a good feedback loops that it's easy for them to work together. Automation and self-sufficiency, you want to make sure that your creators are independent so they can push out the content fast, and there might be some dependencies, but that goes back to collaboration, that it should be easy to work with. And template uses, if you have repetitive things that you want to templatize things so it's easy and fast for them to publish. So DC360, Digital Commerce 360, is an e-commerce client that when we start working with them, they publish a lot of contents because they pretty much sell contents. They're a commerce store for the contents. They had a very complex editorial workflow for various reasons. They have a lot of different content types, and there's a lot of reusable components that across the different content types, pages and sections. But this was never really documented. So when editors, especially with the churn rate with the editors, some of the editors didn't even know where the contents were coming from. And then when they're trying to edit the content, they didn't know where the specific, they didn't know where to update the contents depending on if it's a reusable modules or not. So they were very frustrated, and then because they didn't know where the contents are coming from, they're just creating more and more of the same thing. So it's like it just quickly went chaotic. So what we did was we start documenting the workflow, the editorial workflow, while we're identifying all the reusable components of where they're coming from, where they're being used, where they can be used. So we start mapping all that together and streamlining it and just kind of understand, like, and then also educating the editors when they don't know where to pull the content from without creating some random HTML block that's not really needed. So after going through the process, we're meeting with them together, just kind of cleaning up as we go. And there are some times that since some of the modules, reusable components were built to be used in like 5 different content types, but it turned out that only one content type will use it, then we don't really need to make this reusable and just put it into that content type admin. So we're just cleaning up as we go. So like we pretty much streamlined it. We also put the notification, automatic notification for different stages of the approval process. So at the end of the day, time to publish increased, decreased. It improved. And editorial teams are actually happier because they know where to go to create the content, and they know there are reusable contents that they don't have to create every single little sections of the page or content when they want to publish it. So their campaign velocity went up, and their even content publishing went up, speed went up. The third leg, developer experience. This is your engine room for your platform. So your technical backbone, DevOps, tools, workflows for the developers. What are the red flags for developer experience? Manual deployment processes. You'll be surprised that, like, you would think that most companies have automated deployment process going on, but you'll be surprised how many don't have it. And development workflow, if it's not streamlined and if it's you have to do it manually, there's a lot of times just developers stepping over each other and just overwriting each other's code, and it can get chaotic very quickly. And those open up the higher rates for the human errors, causing the security vulnerability. And lack of proper monitoring. If you don't have a proper monitoring in place, you're gonna be going back to constant reactive mode, as I explained in the beginning, and more chaos comes and more emergencies comes. You want to make sure you're proactive about preventing the issues before they come by having the proper monitoring set up. So what's good developer experience? Streamline CI/CD, continuous integration, deployment pipeline, so easy deployment for the code push. Automated testing and proactive monitoring for seamless development workflow. I'll get into more of the key metrics and benefits a little more. So how would you help to make the development experience better? Implement DORA metrics. It's a deployment frequency, lead time to publish, failure rate, and MTTR, mean time to recover. So deployment frequency, how fast you can actually deploy, if there's any updates. It really depends on the size of your site or frequency of deployment that has to be done. So there's really no rule, but you want to make sure that it's not that hard to deploy frequently, especially if you have to deploy content or features and bug fixes multiple times a day, that you want to cater to that. Lead time from like commit to the feature or the bug fix is actually going out to the live site. So you want to make sure this is fast. I think usually if you're not a crazy high traffic site, probably less than 24 hours, but for the high traffic site, you want to be under 1 hour minimally. And failure rate, you want to make sure that your site doesn't fail a lot. I think the high traffic site, you probably want to make sure that it's under 15%. MTTR, mean time to recover. When site goes down, when something happens, emergency happens, how quickly can you recover, like rollback options, or how quickly can you revert your code? So having the right mechanism to reduce the mean time to recover. Automate CI/CD pipeline for testing, build, and deployment. I forgot the build in there. So continuous integration and continuous deployment so that it's automated so you don't want to do manual pushes or FTP push or SSH push. Implement code quality gates and automated checks. You want to have a quality gate by having the proper pull request and code review process so that you're not pushing out the bad code to your live site. So there should be a checks and balances in between before you actually push out your code. And you want some automated checks like automated testing so you can prevent some regression issues, or some style checks, coding standards, or security scans whenever you push out the code. Standardized development environment across team and across environments. There are many times that some developer will say, like, oh, it works in my local environment, but it doesn't work on any other developers' local environments or in staging or production. So what's the point? So you want to make sure you have a standardized development environment so that it's easy to replicate the issues as well as easy to troubleshoot the things from multiple people. Monitor application performance error rates so you can be proactive about preventing the potential issues. Integrate security best practices into the workflow. That the security check, you want to make sure you're blended into your development workflow. So some of the metrics to help your developers' experience. DORA metrics, I already went over that. Developer productivity, code review cycle time, build success rates, focus time, platform performance, environment setup time kind of goes back to standardizing your environments. And also the standardizing environment helps to kind of quickly onboard a new resource because like it's easy for them to get onboarded and work in the same kind of environment. And CI/CD reliability, developer satisfaction, and code quality, review coverage, tech debt, test coverage, innovation and learning. This is actually very important for developers that they're very curious and they also always want to work with the greatest and newest technology. So you want to bake in some time for them to learn new things, which will help them to be more creative, putting the new technology and make it efficient. And it's gonna improve your project by having this practice. 303 Magazine, when we start working with them, they were in a hosting that was still on cPanel. So when we start working with them, there's no code source control whatsoever. No, actually, I take that back. They had a source control, which was _v1 or _v1 time, name, last name, whatever, and it kind of get chaotic with all these different types just all in one repo. And if you just consistently follow that, that's fine, but sometimes they just overwrite the file, and then you don't really know what really changed. So if there's something goes bad, there's no way for us to figure out what happened or what really changed. So, and the way they deployed it was through STP. It's not even SFTP or SSH. So there's a lot of room for errors in that one. So some of you might have experienced that kind of clients before. So first thing we did was we were migrating out of that. We were migrating into managed hosting with better SLA. And while we're doing that, we did the code cleanup. So we removed all this weird V1, whatever, and then just put it into proper source control and put it in the GitHub. And we put the development workflow to make sure that there's a proper pull request and code review going on before the code gets out. And we have like a easy to roll back and then recover and reverse anything, and we see the diff properly on the source control. And while we do that, we put in the checks and balances, so automated checks, automated test, and like the coding standard checks or like any checks that cannot be automated for the commit to deployment, and set up the monitoring tool for Pingdom and New Relic to make sure that we're tracking the uptime and downtime so we catch any potential issues before they happened. And we added the ticketing system for fast turnaround time for any feature updates, bug fixes, or whatnot. So the result was fewer outages and then better uptime, and faster feature delivery or bug fix delivery. So all these kind of have resulted in lower maintenance costs for the client. 3 framework affects all teams. So when one experience suffers, all team feels the impact. Conversely, optimizing together creates exponential results. So share metrics to drive unified success. Some of the example is that so your engineering team and developers fix their developer experience by putting the automated CI/CD and streamlining their workflow. So now their bug fix and the feature delivery time was a lot faster. Now, so their developers are happy. And now the product team and design team and editors can request the new features faster. And then if there's any bugs going on, they can fix faster. So the velocity went up, and content is faster to push out because you can now, like any repetitive test, any old things can be improved quicker with the developer team. So now creator experience improved. Since now you're putting all this innovative and fast and creative works out faster and more frequently, now you have more user engagement because your site is more attractive, it's more competitive to the users, so your audience experience went up. So now stakeholders are happy. So it actually affects all the team across all different departments. So this sounds all good. So how can I implement 3E framework to my platform? It's 3 simple steps. I say simple, but sometimes it's not really simple, but just too easy to remember. Assess, implement, and monitor. So you want to assess your platform health by identifying the pain points. So like performance bottlenecks, workflow inefficiencies, development roadblocks, user experience gaps. You want to start assessing this and listing it all out to see what's really causing the bad experiences. So if you don't know where to start, I created this 20-question little quick app. I'm a developer, so I like to making little tools. So while that load, I actually preloaded it. So it's a 5-minute assessment quiz that if you go through 20 questions, it kind of give you, like, it assesses audience, creator, and developer experience. It gives you a little, for each experience, it gives you feedback with some recommended plugin that you can use. So if you're curious, you can scan that or just go to that website. It's probably easy to remember, 3eassessment.ndevr.io. All right, implement. Into little details more in the implement. So after you identify all these pain points, you want to prioritize the highest priority to high, middle, medium, low priority, and also put the level of effort to implement it, the easy, medium, hard. So you want to do the quick wins first, so high priorities and then easy implementation, and start chugging along, start reevaluating, reviewing, and chugging along, and just constantly implement based on that. Track both individual experience metrics and cross-functional impact while you're doing that, and establish continuous improvement through regular reviews. I kind of mentioned that before. Connect all optimization to business outcome and revenue so you can see how it's impacting your business. Because sometimes it's more satisfying to see it that way. And build platform resilience for growth and unexpected challenges. Use prioritization framework based on impact and complexity. It's kind of going back to you want to prioritize based on the complexity and as well as like how annoying it is to address it. How much of a pain point it is to prioritize it. And measure success through data-driven decision-making. And once you have the system go on, you'll be improving your platform, and you want to continuously improve it by monitoring it. Continue to monitor your metrics, so track your DORA metrics, monitor platform stability indicators, measure workflow efficiencies or inefficiencies, and analyze audience impact metrics. So this was very long and hopefully a lot of information, so I'll try to give takeaways based on the roles. Audience experience takeaways. Head of product and marketing. Monitor key performance metrics for your audience experience. Optimize content strategy and personalization. Enhance technical performance. Improve user experience and accessibility. Not just for the compatible with accessibility rules, but also want to make sure that your site is very user-friendly and easy to use. Implement feedback and testing system. Focus engagement and retention for your audience. Build data-driven optimization foundation. I think I brought this, like you want to make sure that you're catering to your target audience to make sure that you're providing the content that resonates with them better. Creator experience takeaway for head of editors or operator. Monitor key performance metrics for the editorial team. So like how fast you can push out your content and how efficient your content creation cycle is. Streamline workflow processes, leverage technology for automation for any repetitive work and boring work. Foster team collaboration, ensure continuous improvement, focus on content quality and impact, and build a resilient foundation for stability. Developer experience takeaway for head of technology, monitor key performance metrics, DORA metrics for developers, streamline development workflows, leverage technology and automation. There's so many tools to make your development workflow so much more efficient, and there are a lot of things you can catch before things go south. So use that and leverage that. Foster team collaboration and communication, ensure platform stability and performance, focus on code quality and standards. Yeah, you don't want to have bad code on your life site. You don't want to be known for that, especially for the competitive developers. So make sure you have your quality checks in there. Build a learning and innovative culture. I explained why, to stay competitive and take advantage of latest and greatest technology that's out there. Cross-functional alignment takeaways. Implement shared metric strategy across all experiences. Like I said before, these experience will impact and affect a lot of teams across. So you want to make sure that you have cross-functional alignment going on with your company, within the company, and across different teams. Establish cross-team communication protocol. Use sentiment metrics like NPS, customer satisfaction, that promotion score, as early warning signs for you to address and fix. Recognize cascading impact between experiences. Build collaborative culture over siloed approach, and align all teams towards unified platform resilience goal, and address issues holistically across all three experiences. So I didn't get a chance to finish my checklist, although this was a lot of information. So it's almost there, but I should be able to finish it up and publish it in. Can you hear me? All right. All right. So this is for the, if you want the checklist later, this is for the email. So it's just send me the email and I'll send you the checklist once it's ready, probably like early September. It's actually broken down by 3 experiences. So if you want to get that, scan that. All right. So 3E framework isn't just the technical concept. It's actually a fundamental business strategy to make your platform resilient and strong. So you want to be building the strong foundation, not house of cards. Stop relying on Band-Aid fixes and start building a resilient digital foundation. Publisher reduce risk, improve performance, and empower team to focus on content, not fixing the system. You want your team to be working on creative work, innovative work, developers and creators and even the marketers. They want to focus on their job, not fighting the system, not fighting the CMS. So this method will help you build your resilient platform, and it's gonna promote a holistic culture for the better success. All right, you want to be the happy trio on, wait, is it my left, your left? Okay, on the strong platform. Not this agitated 3 trios on the fragile platform. So thank you very much. And as I promised, that's the Ndevr URL. And you can find me on LinkedIn and Meeky Hwang. I have a unique enough name that you can just find me there. And Boozy Browsing, and Kelly kind of promoted that before, is our podcast we just started. It's a digital happy hour where we talk all things technology, or we will audit different sites and give actionable tips while we're drinking cocktails and mocktails. So you'll be seeing some drunken developers trying to assist the website. So if you're interested, go check it out. Or if you want your site audited by us while we're doing this, summit.woozybrowsing.com is our URL. And I was doing actually pretty good on time, so I was told that I might not have time for the QA, but I have like 5 minutes, so I might take maybe 1 or 2 questions. Yeah, thank you.
And I love the animation. It's great for the slides. So most beautiful one so far I've seen. In general, my question is, this all sounds great in theory, but tracking all of this, it's going to take time, energy, and effort directly from the clients
Yep.
and from agencies who are on our side, right? So what is the real reality of how much of this you actually track? Is it like following Pareto's law, where it's like 20% of it and you feel good, or do you actually have clients where you track like all of these metrics and you can successfully compare before state and after state?
Are you agency or in?
Yes, agency. Oh,
So
now it's on.
You're
Wow.
it's probably the universal answer. It depends on the client. But it's also how aware they are and how strongly they feel about things. Because there are times that development experience is really failing. But in that case, we can start putting those in. It's easier convincing to do because they need to fix it. So it really depends on like the priority level. Because if they really feel strongly about it, we'll start from there. But while we're doing that, as they see the progress on it, we'll implement different things on top of it. So I just gave you a lot of information of everything you can do. But it's like, in reality, you have to start from something that you can actually address, especially with the client, because there's limited budget, limited resource to do all this. But you want to slowly putting together while you're working on it, while you're fixing some experiences, you want to slowly embed into it that you can start tracking it. And also by tracking it, they can see the difference in results. So that's easier convincing to do, to start implementing other things on top of it. So that's usually the method. So like not all clients have everything there, but we'll start with the really pain points, like if they're really failing on development workflow, or like I kind of did the case study wise, they're really failing on creator experience. We have to fix that first. But like I said before, you have to kind of have that all work together. You can't just fix one thing. All three legs has to be strong, but they also have to balance together. So it's easy to convince after, because if you fix one leg, you see the difference affecting other experiences. So it's like you get easier convincing point to actually start implementing all those. So slowly, but then, yeah, but sometimes it takes a little while to get to all the experience to be cleaned up, but eventually, like once they see the results, that's usually when they try to like, oh, it makes sense, then we'll do that.
Well, looking forward to checking out your podcast.
Thank you. All right, almost perfect in time.